There are moments in history when a person's faith is no longer just something they say. It becomes something they must prove. Moments when believing in Jesus is no longer comfortable. When there is no pulpit, no congregation, no worship team, no Bible in your hands, just you, your faith, and a decision. The Bible says in Revelation chapter 2 verse 10, "Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life." Those words were written almost 2,000 years ago, but in February 2015, about 11 years ago, 21 ordinary Christian men would live out the weight of those words in a way the world would never forget. Imagine being given one final choice: deny Jesus and perhaps live, or hold on to your faith and lose everything. Who were these men? They weren't famous preachers, they weren't bishops, they weren't men with massive platforms. They were workers, men who had traveled to Libya looking for greener pastures. They were just trying to provide for their families, trying to build a better life. They had mothers, fathers, brothers, wives, children, dreams, plans. They were ordinary men like you and me, but sometimes God chooses ordinary people to give an extraordinary witness. Then they were kidnapped. For weeks, their families waited, wondering where they were, wondering whether they were still alive, praying, hoping, waiting, until eventually the world learned what had happened. They had been captured by ISIS because they were Christians. And then came the moment that makes this story so difficult to forget. They were given a choice: deny Christ or remain faithful. Among the 21 was one man who wasn't an Egyptian. His name was Matthew Ayariga. This man was from Ghana. He stood alongside the Egyptian Coptic Christians, and when his faith was tested, he did not separate himself from them. He stood with them. Though from a different country, different background, he said, "Their Lord will be my Lord." On the 15th of February 2015, the world saw the terrible conclusion of their captivity. They were taken to a beach in Sirte, Libya, and killed by ISIS militants. I don't want you to remember these men because of the violence they experienced at the point of their death. They were actually beheaded. I don't want their story to be reduced to the images of their terrible last moment, because I believe their story is bigger than how they died. They were 21 ordinary men, but their final witness became extraordinary. The Christian world remembers them as martyrs, men who refused to abandon Christ. Think about that. These men did not preach a sermon. They did not write a book. None of them built a ministry. They did not have thousands of followers. Their final witness was their faithfulness until their death, faithfulness unto the cross. And now their story asks us a question. We live in a generation where saying "I am a Christian" often costs us very little. So the question is not only would I die for Jesus. Perhaps the deeper question is, am I willing to live for him? Am I willing to obey him when obedience costs me? To stand for him when standing becomes uncomfortable? To remain faithful when nobody is watching? Because you don't suddenly become faithful at the moment of death. Faithfulness is built while you are alive. And perhaps this is where the story of these 21 men meets our own story. You may never stand on the beach in Libya. You may never face the kind of persecution they faced. But every day you are given smaller opportunities to answer the same question. Who is Jesus to you? When obedience is inconvenient, will you follow him? When following him costs you something, will you remain faithful? When nobody is watching, will you stand for Jesus? Because Christianity is not merely about what we are willing to die for. It is about what we are willing to live for. You must be able to live before you are able to die. Apostle Paul said in Philippians chapter 1 verse 20 to 21, "Christ will be honored in my body, whether by life or by death. For to me to live is Christ and to die is gain." That is the art of the Christian life, whether in life or in death. The 21 did not set out looking to become martyrs. They were simply men trying to work, to provide, to live. But when the ultimate test came, their lives had already answered the question. To them, Jesus was worth everything. 21 ordinary men, one extraordinary testimony. They went looking for work, but history remembers their witness. And perhaps that is the challenge their lives live with us. Don't wait until the greatest test comes before deciding where you stand. Decide now. Live faithfully now. Obey Christ now. Love Him now. Because faithfulness is not something you suddenly discover when the pressure comes. Faithfulness is built while you are alive. This is God's Generals, a journey through the lives of men and women whose faith, sacrifices, victories, and even their failures have left lessons for generations after them. We will learn from their faith, we will learn from their courage, we will learn from their failures, but above all, we will follow Christ. This is episode 1, the 21 who would not deny Jesus. And their story begins with a command and a promise and a challenge. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life.
Shall then indeed be free. Faith of our fathers, holy faith, we will be true.